What's up, everyone? This is episode 21 of the 300 Club podcast. My name is Gil. This is Kelvin, and this is another installment of the episode. Check it out. What's up, Kelvin? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just came back from a trip to Toronto. Had a chance to go see the Rogers Center. That was
Yes.
quite an experience, man. I was impressed. Have you been there?
Yeah, you went to the actual game?
Yeah. It was Toronto Blue Jays against the Miami Marlins. The Marlins actually won.
Oh wow, was it a good
Yeah.
game?
Yeah, it was pretty good, but honestly, I was just there for the vibe. Like I wanted to see a different stadium, besides like Yankee Stadium and City Field. I was impressed. The only thing that I regret is that the day before it was open field. And then when I went, it was closed. So
The
that was
dome was
actually the
closed.
first, yeah, the roof was closed. So it was the first time I actually been in a dome-like atmosphere. It's different. Have you been in an
Yeah.
environment like that?
I think I actually went to the Rogers Center in Toronto maybe 6 years ago. I had a good experience. I liked it. I even got a drink there, like a beer or something, like to just get
Yeah.
a different experience of the concession stands and whatnot. I don't remember if the dome was open or closed. It might have been closed though. It
Yeah,
might have been
yeah,
closed. I think it's dope. I feel like the ambience is different. Like with the sound, it stays more internal.
yeah.
It's a little live, and I like the atmosphere. I like it. It's a good
In
ballpark.
comparison to City Field or
Yeah,
Yankee Stadium, whichever one of the two you visited the most,
yeah,
I'm gonna say that like one of the main differences was like I feel like Yankee Stadium and City Field they're a lot wider, not
yeah,
from the stand perspective, but like where the concession stands are and everything. I feel like the Rogers Center was very much very narrow in terms of room. What were some opinions you can share on the Toronto Blue Jays Rogers Center?
I mean, it's been there for some time, it's not the oldest, but it's been there for some time. Obviously, you went recently, so you got to see the Rogers Center more renovated now, and I think it looks
Yeah.
better now. When I went, it was the traditional, Rogers Center. I liked it. I mean, it's a whole different feeling. You also gotta understand, like, it's a whole different country, so they might have different metrics or measurements or way on how they design architecture and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I did think it was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. I thought
I
that
liked it.
stadium it looked really, really good. Like the with the renovated outfield, the new thing that they put towards like center field, even behind it, like where the fans can go. It was a very interesting stadium, dude. I was actually very impressed. Not so much for the city of Toronto. No, I'm joking. I loved it. I think it was a pretty good city to visit. If you guys haven't, make sure that you guys do check out Toronto. I had a great time. I think right now is a good time to go to. But yeah, nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into it. There's a lot of things I want to ask you. The last time that we spoke, it was the Mets against the Braves,
Yeah,
fighting for the last playoff positions, and they did it. Both
yeah,
teams did it.
yeah.
So first things first, I want to ask you, what were your thoughts leading up to that two-game series? Were you a fan of the scheduling, which has been a topic for most people at that time?
So me personally, I'm not a fan of the scheduling. I feel like the Mets came into these playoffs currently in a disadvantage to most teams and the Braves too. They had to play on a Monday where every other team, with the regular season already had ended, every other team was off, either traveling to the destination, getting ready for the playoffs, or going home for vacation.
Yeah.
But the Mets had to go from ATL from Atlanta. They played one game, they got two rainouts. Then they traveled to Milwaukee. Then from Milwaukee, I think we only won the last game, and we got smoked the first two games. Then Monday day off, but we were gonna make up the two games because again, playoff implications. And then Tuesday is the beginning of the wild card, and it's like, damn, like now my concern is the pitching, like because you gotta go all out to secure the playoff spot, but then you gotta play right after. So I didn't like that. I guess the solution for me will be again maybe reduce the regular season maybe by a week or so, or start the regular season a week earlier and give yourself a couple of extra days for situations like this, so you can make up games, play games. A doubleheader is kind of crazy, bro. Heading into the playoffs, bro. Like it's the likelihood of an injury increases. People are tired, bro, and then you gotta travel jet lag. Like people underestimate how tiring traveling is, especially by playing constantly and changing from time zones. Like that's
I
a
mean,
lot, you
playing
know?
games in between in itself, it's already a
Yeah.
big thing.
So and
I
base was a
agree.
grind in itself. Like every day, you basically playing. So I don't love the scheduling. I feel like there should be a couple more days off between the regular season and the wild card series. Nonetheless, though, I'm excited. We won the last game against the Brewers in the regular season, and then we won the first game against the Braves in the doubleheader. The implications were that if the Mets and the Braves split, they both are in. If either of them sweep each other, Arizona comes in and the loser stays out, right? So I feel like Arizona had the most to lose in this situation. They unfortunately put themselves in that hole by
Right.
not taking care of business against, I forgot who they played, but I think there was a game that was up maybe like 8-0 and they still lost the game. So it's like you got to point back at that. It can't just be because of the Mets or the Braves. You know what I mean? You can only control what you can control, and they just weren't good enough to control their destiny. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. So, uh, to add on
It
to
was
that,
tough.
but yeah, to
It was
your
tough.
question, I think the Mets and Braves game, honestly, to me, is probably the game of the year in the whole season, and it came out to the regular season game. It was a phenomenal game. It was a tug of war. Our team was up, then we were down, then we come from behind, then we go up the lead again. And I loved it, bro. Like a lot of resilience. There was a lot of highlights in those games from both sides of the team. And usually we fold into these situations. Like we folded 2 years ago, but we could have got the first seed and we didn't. So this is a kind of like a lick back, and I'm happy for that.
Nah, I was happy too. You could tell by like our group chats. I'm sure you're in various group chats
Yeah.
where I just felt like every 2 to 5 minutes, it was a different reaction each time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought that was just so entertaining. And you brought up a couple valid points. I didn't mean to get stuck on this topic, but since you brought up so many different topics out of that,
Yeah.
um, one of the first things that you mentioned was in terms of the scheduling. I didn't think of it that far. I do think that the MLB should either shorten the season or make sure that they start earlier. And I think that'll be a pretty interesting episode that we talk about like the scheduling of the MLB. The second thing that you mentioned was that the Arizona Diamondbacks were not able to more or less control their destiny. They were put in a situation where it was pretty much a lose lose. It was very very tough. It was very very tough. But the NL, I mean the league entirely has been neck and neck. Like everybody's flirting within 88 to 94 wins.
Yeah.
That's the divider there. You know.
The closest
Uh,
I've seen it in a minute, bro.
I know, for better
Yeah.
or worse. I mean, I like those, 97 win teams, those 100 win teams. I like the wild card being like either a high 80, low 90 type of wild card team. But like I said, we can dive into that another day, another episode. Make sure that you guys go ahead and stay tuned in the 300 Club podcast here in episode 21. Um, what else? Now, in terms of that series, dude, like it was so neck and neck. I'm so glad that they both ended up going in. I thought it was a very special moment because we never had two teams clinch on the same day on the same
Yeah, I've never seen
field.
that.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
And it just shows like the continuity of baseball, man. It's a brotherhood at the end of the day. Um, After that, the Mets are now taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, and I told you this from a while ago. The the Mets playoff started like mid August
Oh, yeah, yeah. They were
for a
rolling.
lot of these teams, though. And again, not to go back into the scheduling, but now what about those teams that have been off for the past 5 days, like the Yankees, like the Dodgers? We could also speak about the impact that that's going to have, but that's going to be a topic for another week or so. We'll see how they answer.
Yeah.
But the Milwaukee Brewers, I was going to say Bucks. I'm going into basketball season now. The Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Mets right now they're tied 1-1. The Mets had a chance to clinch yesterday. What are some observations that you can see from this series?
So game one, I think it was a great show. Again, the keyword is resilience. Like this is the definition of the Mets. Resilience, put up a fight every at bat. I liked it. I felt like we were losing and we battled and dug and dug. My question was, I'm not sure why their manager, Pat Murphy, I think is his name, not sure why he took out Freddie Peralta so soon. I don't know if analytics played a factor into that decision making. I felt like he was cruising. I felt like we couldn't really hit him. But once he came out, we was just roping on their bullpen, which to me was a concern. Was a concern because according to the numbers, the Brewers have the best bullpen in the National League, second in the major leagues. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you don't want to face their bullpen after you're already grueling through a start or whatever because you're facing their top arms, speed, movement and everything, but the Mets were on top of it, and that's how they were able to rally and win and sustain.
Yeah.
Now, and Severino, he pitched, he gave us a chance to win, and that's all I can ask for.
And so did Sean Mania too.
Yes, yes,
It didn't blow
yes,
up until the very end, but I mean, he was
yes.
in. I won't say cruise control, but he was definitely minimizing the damage. Like
Nah,
from the
he
picture
pulled through
that,
the innings that he had to, but there were
right?
innings that it could have gotten ugly. He got out of jams a couple times.
hmm
Um,
Jackson Chourio
but
put a good swing on the ball, and it's like I say the same thing for like Garrett Cole and anybody. I mean, Sean Manaea is not the same as Garrett Cole. I think we can understand that. But at
yeah,
the end of the day, they're fly ball pitchers. They give up the home run. It happens. It's part of baseball. But if you can limit the damage to just one run, I'll take that. You
yeah.
know. So I feel like he pitched pretty good. I feel like he gave a quality start for the most part.
Yeah, and like I said, I felt like he was battling. He put us in a position to win. We took the lead. My questionable thing is, I think I would have given him one more inning, or at least
hmm
let's see if you allow a hitter or two on base and then take him out. I felt like he was around like 84 pitches through six. Maybe you give him one more like that. You don't blow up your whole bullpen because I feel like at the end of the day we're playing hard. We're trying to overcome, but we're tired. You know, like it's been
Yeah.
nonstop high leverage games for the last 2 to 3 weeks just to be in the actually for the last like 60 games if we be realistic. So
Yeah.
yeah, bro, they're tired, bro, and I feel like that could have been something that we could have used to win yesterday. I don't really agree with the selection of the arm that he chose in the bullpen to allow the run the game away. We were winning most of the game, very winnable game. It kind of struck a knife through my chest yesterday at the end of that game. But hey, I'm optimistic today. We got Jose Quintana, veteran. He's been cruising his last six starts. Hopefully the ball is on his court, and let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Jose Quintana, I feel like he's missing like a moment in his career where
Yeah,
he had a
yeah,
huge impact. And what better moment than now? At least get the mess into the LDS. And you guys, it could be a possibility where it's the tale of two different things. Whether you guys are extremely tired at this point in the season, or you guys have all the momentum in the world to drive you guys to the very end.
and sorry to cut you. I mean, I do want the Mets to win. I think it's the better rating. Like you got the Phillies up next, Mets and Phillies. That's a classic. And you got the other side, you got the Padres and the Dodgers. Like that's division rivals. So go to the next step. So that's what I would want. I think that's what Major League would want. So let's see. But to add on to another topic, Pete Alonso, man, he has to step up, bro. It's possibly his last game as the Met. He has to do something, bro. It's now
I
or
agree.
never.
I completely agree. I lost my train of thought. I wanted to say something else about the
Yeah,
Mets,
I know.
but no, yeah, Pete Alonso, he does need to step up for sure. Like I saw a video where he was like tripping over the bat and stuff. It sucks, but oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Actually, it's crazy that the Mets, their road to the playoffs has not been the easiest, and they
No.
do have momentum, but they could be running out of gas too. I think that's the biggest question mark.
Yeah.
And if they make it to the World Series, dude, the odds that they even do that is like better than last year's Arizona Diamondbacks team.
I think so. I think so.
Yo, it's absurd, and it's happened before.
Yeah.
And imagine in a world where it's the Mets as the last seed
Yeah.
fight all the way to the World Series against the Yankees, who were the number one seed, at least in the American League.
Yeah.
Much easier road.
Yeah.
We're gonna dive into it right now, but much easier road to the World Series. And it's like, wow, a true David versus Goliath could be turning of a tide moment because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if the Yankees win, it's kind of like okay, like everybody kind of expected that. If the Mets win, yo,
Boom.
yo, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
And I feel like in a situation where a Subway Series,
You
World
gotta
Series
respect
happens
it, dude.
again.
Like you gotta respect.
Oh
You
yeah,
gotta respect.
absolutely,
This is something
absolutely.
movies are made out of, and I would love it, dude. I would.
I think it benefits both teams if that were to happen. Because think about it, now you don't got to travel like that. You don't got to take a plane. You can easily go back to your home ballpark, take practice, and then travel to the other borough and
Well,
play.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I saw a meme the other day of that Squidward, SpongeBob, and Patrick when they're like outside and Squidward's just looking at them.
Hmm.
Literally the Padres and the Diamondbacks just, I'm sorry, the Padres and the Dodgers going up on the highway, and
Yeah.
Squidward's just there looking like, and they're representing the Angels. I
Sheesh.
say that because, like, yeah, just imagine your rivals, literally cross-farm rivals, are battling against each other, and you're just over here, whatever. Screw the Angels, they suck.
Yeah.
But anyways, a team that's been exciting, one that we did not expect for them to even make it this far, has
Yeah.
been the Detroit Tigers. I want to go ahead and share
Yeah.
this real quick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm sure that means a lot to that team, considering like how bad they were last year, and they have a massive low payroll, so they define odds at this point, and they were
Exactly.
selling
Now,
at the deadline.
number one, they did the Yankee fans a favor, absolutely.
Absolutely,
Even though
remember?
the competitor in me would have wanted to see that series. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I want to beat them. However, the Detroit Tigers hooked it up.
I feel like if you look back to like the most recent episodes, the last two, we had the playoff prediction, and it's like our question was, is this the year that the Yankees will overcome the Astros? That's what everybody wants to watch, and for them to just fold like this to a hungry Detroit team who got rolling after the deadline.
Right.
Again, like you said, it made it easier. Not saying that it's a cakewalk, but it should be approached as much easier and less pressure than the Astros as a Yankee fan or as a Yankee
Exactly.
member.
And then shout out to AJ Hinch, dude.
Yeah, he got his lick back.
Yeah, word, word. He really
Yeah,
did. He
he
got his
got his lick
receipt,
back.
dude. Yo,
He
that was
broke the
insane.
dynasty.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this Astros team, I don't consider them same as how they've been in previous years. Like, I felt like if the Yankees would have lost to them, I feel like this might have been the weakest Astro team that they might have lost to.
That's
I
fair.
would have wanted them to overcome the hump, but hey, I can't complain. But at the end of the day, maybe we should start looking at the Detroit Tigers a little bit more seriously. There's a graphic
Yeah.
that I also wanted to share. I believe I sent you this on Instagram earlier today, where right here. The Detroit Tigers highest paid players. Javi Baez makes $25 million this year. He's not even playing. Kenta Maeda with $14 million. Jake Flaherty at 9.3. Miguel Cabrera, who retired, was owed $8 million, and so on. And the fact that none of these players are currently in this playoff roster, haven't even been on the team, have not even been on the team at some point after the All Star, break. Yeah, and this team is actually better.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Words
crazy.
have, and you know what it is about these sorts of things too is like, props to the Detroit Tigers front office for developing these players and finding gems like the Trey Sweeney's. He was a former Yankee prospect, didn't even get a chance. Why? That's a conversation for another day. Didn't even get a chance. He ends up getting traded to the Dodgers, and then ends up getting flipped over to the Detroit Tigers. And now look at him. He's starting in a playoff game for the Detroit Tigers. Like,
Yeah,
and the other side of the coin is there are a lot of other franchises who do not want to spend money, and
yeah,
we know who they are.
yeah,
And they're gonna look at it as like, oh, look, you didn't need to spend hundreds of $1 millions because look what the Detroit Tigers did. And it's like that's not the point. The point is that the Detroit Tigers have rallied in
yeah.
these moments to make them playoff contenders.
I think that's a great point that you make. I feel like that's also an issue because owners will look at this like, oh, look at the Tigers. They make the playoffs. They have a chance, and they barely paid this year. And I feel like that just doesn't incentivize players, and it's not pro athlete. So I don't like that. Unfortunately, they made it, but that's the problem with not having a salary floor, as you mentioned in the past conversations. Like it's hard, bro. Like shout out to the Tigers for sure, but I'm not a big believer of not spending and having a sustainable winning organization. That's
Yeah,
not good for the players.
I agree. I agree. And it's like that's what the owners see.
Yeah, yeah,
But everybody else kind of sees it the way we do. At least I
yeah,
would like to think so. It's the more common opinion. It's
yeah,
like it's not about the money that you're spending. It's about the team rallying to be contenders,
yeah,
Like Trey Sweeney was given the opportunity. If he sees that Javi Baez is arguably the worst hitter right now, and he sees that he's getting paid $25 million, Trey Sweeney is gonna be like, no, I'm gonna show you what my value is, and I'm gonna try to do my best to make sure that the team wins, and they're winning. And let me ask you a question: have you seen what happened with the owner of the Arizona Diamondbacks and his comments towards Jordan Montgomery?
that was the owner.
Yeah,
I
it was
thought
the
it was like
owner.
a
It was the
front
owner.
executive. That was the owner.
Yeah,
Word.
that was the owner. Yeah,
Yeah, I did see
yeah.
that. I did see that.
So, for
Go ahead.
those that don't know,
Yeah,
the Arizona Diamondbacks, I think it's the owner. It could be the GM, but whoever from the
yeah,
Arizona
that's so fair.
Diamondbacks,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was the owner mentioned that pretty much signing Jordan Montgomery was the biggest mistake that the franchise has made this year. And on one side of the coin, I can respect him being completely honest
yeah,
because he was the one that gave Jordan Montgomery the Bucks. At a time where people were questioning, are these owners are going to spend money? And
yeah,
then to go back at the end of the season and say it was a bust, it was a mistake. I respect that. I respect that. But then the other side of that coin is now owners are going to be less encouraged to give a player of a Jordan Montgomery caliber that money. What happens? Blake Snell might be a free agent at the end of this year. He might not, or maybe he is, but let's use him as an example. Now teams are gonna want to not probably pay him because of what happened to Jordan Montgomery. The risk is there. Like, what do you do with these uncertains, these ifs, these Scott Boras clients? Maybe.
Damn, I know. I saw that comment, and it's tough, bro. Like I said, like you mentioned, like there is always two sides to the story. On one side, I looked up his stats and I'm like, damn, this is like horrible, bro. And you pitched like practically the whole year. So it's like it's not like a few starts, then you got the motor out of the rotation to the bullpen like that. Nah, they put you to start of the whole year. The ERA was over 6, I think I saw. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like this guy was a key factor to winning the World Series with the Rangers the year prior. And when the Yankees traded him to the Cardinals, he went on a run too. So he obviously has the stuff to show you that he's not an ace, but he's a good middle of the rotation starter, quality starter. His strikeouts were down this year, I saw. He gave up a lot of home runs. It's tough, bro. As an owner, he probably is like, damn, like this is a Scott Boras client. This is the reason why I don't want to give him a long-term contract. I still give him a 1 year deal with a player option. And he does this shit. Ah, it's tough. But he has a player option now. The issue is what do you do? Like I feel like after those comments, you cannot bring him back to the team, bro. You either gotta buy him out and trade him because you publicly shitted on him, like you embarrassed him. Like I'm sure he doesn't be like, hey, I'm gonna wake up and have a bad season, or hey, I'm gonna wake up and have a 6 ERA. Nah, he's I'm sure he's trying his best. He just got a ring, so he knows the grind, what it takes. He don't want to purposely suck, and the D-backs went to the World Series last year, so it's not on purpose. Maybe he's getting older, some mechanical issues. Maybe the pitching staff is not course correcting him the right way.
And
But
they
to
got fired.
publicly, yeah, and then to publicly shit on him, I don't know how you come back from that. So you got to trade him or buy him out at this point.
I feel like well, he has the option, so they're stuck with him. It's
No,
whether or
they
not he
can buy
is.
him out though. They could because it's 20 million dollar player option, I believe I saw.
Shit.
It's gonna be an excessive buyout unless they defer the money.
Hey,
But
I mean, hey, that's a mistake that they're gonna have to swallow. But I mean,
I
Jordan
don't
Montgomery,
I
dude.
don't
I
see
mean,
any way that he's back on this team next year. Like it doesn't
I,
make sense to me.
I never saw him as a player getting paid 20 mil either, to be honest. Like he's the type of player to me that I put him in like the Lance Lynn category. Somebody who's eventually gonna like age well, you know what I'm saying? Like be that veteran. I didn't see him as like 4 year deal, 5, 6 year deal over 200 mil. I didn't see him as that type of player, dude. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. It's
But
tough
you also got to consider that a lot of players asking money is based on what they think. So especially
they
in
compare it
baseball,
to
like
other
you
players. Yeah.
usually get paid for what you've done in the past, not what you are, what you will be. And I think that's where teams handcuff themselves because you got like I feel like a lot of teams don't want to consider age sometimes, or they just signing you based on reputation. Oh, this guy was in a high horse; he just won a ring. Like you got to look deeper than that sometimes. So I don't know.
You said it. You said it perfectly. It's you should get paid as to what your projection is, what your production is gonna project to be. That was a mouthful. Versus your previous performance.
Don't get me wrong. I think it matters your previous performance because that's data. That's a way to justify the means. But I feel like also the factor of projections and how you're gonna age should be factored as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Could not have said it any better myself, to be honest. And that's why I appreciate you, my brother. To switch gears into another team, another exciting series, one that we also, I don't think we predicted this. I know I did it. Was the Kansas City Royals against the Orioles, the Baltimore Orioles. The Kansas City
And two,
Royals swept them. Did you get a chance to see that series?
nah, I didn't really get to see that series, but I
Oh,
would
dude, it was
say
a good one.
that it's impressive that they won in just 2 games, considering how bad they were playing up to the end of the regular season. Like they haven't been hot the last 3 weeks. They've been kind of cold, dropping in the seedings, but they were just good enough to maintain their playoff spot, and they got hot at the right time. And you got a guy like Bobby Witt, where you're banking in for your future and building around, and he stepped up in a major way.
Yeah, yeah, no, he really did. I mean, he's the bona fide leader of that team besides Salvador Perez. I wanted to ask you, I saw a little bit of the series, not too much because I was on a trip, admittedly so. But I thought this was really funny, that they had this
Yeah,
graphic here. What
yeah.
are some thoughts and opinions that you would like to share in terms of, I guess, teams across all sports just clapping at each other? Are you a fan of that?
I like it. I feel like it shows more personality. It's more social media friendly. Like there's more engagements. People are gonna comment. This is also a way to try to target the casual audience who's not really baseball fans, but they see this interaction. Be like, oh, that's funny. Let me see what's that about, you know? So
Yeah.
I like it, and it's a way to add humor or element of characteristics how teams identify and project themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I love it. Anything that brings more eyes into the MOB,
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. Especially like when they're making it comedic, something that can be
yeah,
reposted, something that fans can kind of be like, aha. I just think that's super cool. And I just
yeah.
want to segue really quick that if you guys haven't, please go ahead and follow us on the 300 Club podcast. You like what I did there?
Yes,
Go
sir,
ahead and follow.
Stevie.
Follow us on the 300 Club Podcast. We're on different platforms. We're on X, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. We're also on YouTube, where we host the majority of our podcasts. We also posted a new episode on the Encoded podcast, episode 2, Humble Beginnings. The link will be down there in the description. Please help our channel grow. And nonetheless, I want to go ahead and dive into another topic here. It's mad funny.
Yeah,
Another topic here, and that's gonna be the Padres
yeah.
series against damn, I forgot who they're playing.
The Dodgers, or
But
they pay the Braves. Yeah,
they play the Braves, right? The Braves have flown under the radar to me, for the simple fact that I just feel like that's a team that just had too many injuries to overcome, and they just ran out of gas. And it happens. I mean, it happens. It happens to the Yankees every year. But nonetheless, man, like this series is very exciting. I want to share this clip. Nonetheless, we have El Nino.
yeah. That was a shot, bro. That bat flip was crazy too.
Dude, I just want to analyze this really quickly.
That
His
was fire.
swing, look at his back leg, just
So explosive too.
right. He
Yeesh.
just knew it off the bat.
Yeah, he knew it off the bat. I was like, when you play 2K and you green it, yeah, it's like that, bro.
It was one of those. Yeah, he literally caught it. You know what I love, man? Is that I feel like his popularity is beginning to regrow.
Okay.
I guess in the eyes of everybody else that's not in San Diego, because he lost a lot of respect because of the PED suspension. But at the end of the day, man, this dude, he's elite. I have his jersey. I'm a huge fan of his. I'm a huge fan of what he brings to not only to the Padres, but to MLB entirely. He's charismatic. I think he's just a great player, honestly. And
That's a sick
um,
picture, bro.
I know that's tough, man.
I would
That's real
frame that if
tough.
I was him, bro.
I mean, have you seen him celebrate over the weekend? Like this dude
Yeah,
with his shirt off and everything, man. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure the dude is very, very much so aware of his, I guess, his aura. But he has
yeah.
aura. He has swag aura. But this is a series that I more or less just can't wait to get into, and that's going to be the San Diego Padres and the LA Dodgers. I don't really want to dive into the Atlanta Braves, but is there any thoughts and opinions that you want to share on that series before we move on
I
to
mean, that was
the
a
Padres
team
and the
I
Dodgers?
would prefer to not have faced the Padres. I feel like they've also been very hot, and their offense is just clicking right now. Like Machado, Tatis, Bogarts, Jefferson Profar, the catcher from the Yankees, Kyle Higashioka. What was his name again?
Kyle Higashioka.
Yeah,
Higashioka, sorry.
I think he did well in that series too. The pitching is there. Like that team is hot. And if there were ever to be a year where the Padres, they took that toll, but they're gonna beat the Dodgers. I think this is the year.
I think this could be the year. No, I
So,
100% agree with you. Now that these playoffs are beginning to unfold,
yeah.
and we're riding off the wave of regular season because regular season is different from the playoffs. I think
Yes.
we can all agree.
Yeah.
I do see that this is the year, probably the Padres' best shot at
Yes.
completing that.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see Xander Berger back at short. They signed him for that position, and they ended up moving him around the bases. He's healthy, back and healthy. Manny Machado's doing Manny Machado things. He ended up finishing the season a lot stronger than the way
Yeah.
that he started out. So
Yeah.
great bounce back from him. The aura of Fernando Tatis. You have Luis Ariz there too, who just won a batting title, third batting title on three different teams. You
Crazy.
got to respect it. Even though
Crazy.
all he does is get base hits, Listen, as long as he's the best at it.
Hey, that's 3 bats he's taking to the crib for his career, bro.
Batting titles are prestigious.
He could always say he was a 3-time batting champ. Not a lot of people can say that, bro. And three in a row at that too. Like that's tough.
Does I felt like you were hard on him in the beginning of the year or as the year progressed?
Nah, not that I'm
Because he's not
hard.
an OPS guy, he's
Not
not
that I'm
someone.
hard. It's just there's other players that provide more than him that stats surface value would not display that. And it was just showing a different perspective. I still think he's a good player, It just I think that there's more value in hitting for extra bases than singles.
Yeah,
But
I know. I
nonetheless,
agree.
he's hitting that. That's what matters. So
Three batting titles, dude. That's
yeah,
that's that's
that's
three pieces
tough.
of hardware I would love to have in my house.
Yes,
Like
sir.
anybody would love to have in their house. If you're a baseball player, like come on. I actually wanted to ask you this question, and it is the Padres who are not allowing anybody outside of these
Yeah,
regions to purchase tickets.
yeah.
What are some thoughts and opinions you want to share on this?
I think I saw that this morning too. I get it. They really trying to like be on some like, yo, we the Padres. Like we don't want to. I think that's mainly targeted. Like they don't want no Dodger fans in their stadium when they play the
Me too.
Dodgers.
I
Like
agree.
I think
I
that
agree.
rivalry is very heavy. There's a lot of investment between those two teams. I think they're really like we Cali out here. But
I
I
love that they
respect
do
it.
that. I love that they do that.
I
I I I,
respect it.
I respect this 100,000%. Especially like it's a Dodger town, dude. It's a Dodger state. So
Yeah,
it's like you don't want that in your home ballpark, especially
yeah.
when you're trying to get uh a championship, the first championship in a lot of years, man. The Padres are not that successful of a franchise. So,
Hmm.
I love that. I love that. To switch gears now, going into Yankees news really quickly, is that Anthony Rizzo could possibly be out. Listen, I'm gonna take it like this.
Actually,
I
that
think,
shit just happened.
and we were just talking about that the Yankees were super healthy. Look what happened.
Yeah,
And he just came back from injury. So here's the
yeah,
thing. Anthony Rizzo to me offensively has not been a great productive player, but the
yeah,
one thing that I valued him on was his defense. Excuse me,
yeah,
was his defense. He has a way of picking the ball, dude. And shout out to
yeah.
Fireside Yankees for this graphic. But Anthony Rizzo, dude, like his defense is well needed in the playoffs. If you look at back at, and I could just say just Yankee history, you have the Tino Martinez's of the world that was great at picking the ball at first base. Mark Teixeira, there was a big difference between those players and, for example, a Jason Giambi. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yes.
Defensively,
Yes.
for the rest of our infielders, like Gleyber Torres' defense has been kind of shaky. Anthony Volpe, he's great with the glove, not that strong of an arm. And then you also have Jazz Chisholm, who's a new third baseman this year. He
Yeah.
doesn't even have 100 games under his belt at that position in the
Yeah.
professional level. So you need somebody to pick it at first. In playoffs, those errors can happen
Can't
because
give
it's
extra
different.
out.
You cannot, or extra bases. And this is not a knock at Ben Rice. I mean, he had his cup of tea in the majors for the majority of the year since Anthony Rizzo has been out. Defensively, he has not shown that he's not capable. But like I said, that's what Anthony Rizzo's value was, and that's why I would start him over Ben Rice. Ben Rice, to me, I feel like it has the potential to be a great hitter. We shall see. We shall see. I don't want to say that he isn't or he is. We're gonna see what happens in the playoffs, dude. But I think this was probably a huge blow. Huge
Um,
blow.
I would say there's also more value in Rizzo, even if he's not hitting, because he's also a leader and he's won, so he knows what it takes. You need that veteran presence on the team. And if you look at the active roster, only Garrett Cole, I believe, and Rizzo have won championships out of the roster currently, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, and Soto, sorry, and Soto. But you need that. You need that championship pedigree on the team. So hopefully he's able to play. It's a major blow if he's out. I don't know when he got hurt because I thought he played the regular season at the end fine. I don't know if they just discovered this between the day offs or something. I have no idea.
And let me just say this, man. For somebody that fractured their wrist in the middle of this year, and I was able to come back in about 5 to 6 weeks, still felt a little something. This dude fractured his fingers. You're gonna need that to even grip a bat.
Yeah,
And playoffs, I don't. If I'm the Yankees, I'm not taking that risk, bro. You're out. I need healthy players right now. Like, why would I give you in that bat with broken fingers? It doesn't make any sense to do that. We can't afford to give up at bats. And he shouldn't force it either. And it's the same thing with DJ LeMahieu, for example. We're I
He's
love
on the
DJ
roster.
LeMahieu. Yeah, I don't think he's on the playoff roster. He's still on the IL.
Oh,
But here's the thing, man. And I love me some DJ LeMahieu, dude. I really enjoyed him as a player. Um, but he's just not good anymore. And you guys got us here. You guys did your part. And if this is how far the train goes, I understand from their perspective because they want to ride the train to the end, but they're gonna get a ring regardless. And if I'm the Yankees right now, I'm not taking any risks. We need the best players on the field. Another point that I want to get into is the fact that the Yankees haven't even announced whether Alex Verdugo or Jason Dominguez is gonna start at left field.
oh,
And
really?
they have not even decided on that yet. And I'm gonna be honest, throw Jason Dominguez out there, dude. Throw him out there. Alex Verdugo has had enough chances this year to improve defensively, and he hasn't. I mean, I'm sorry, offensively, and he hasn't. And Jason Dominguez is the future. And what could be 2 weeks from now, I'm not gonna give a shit about Alex Verdugo, but I'm gonna give a shit about Jason Dominguez. So put him out there. It's different if Alex Verdugo was gonna be there for the next 2 to 3 years, but he's not.
Yeah.
So, like I said, bro, just put the best players out there. And whether Jason Dominguez does good or not, he can carry over this value over the next year. But man, oh man, bro, he can't fuck up. Excuse my
Question:
language.
if you do start Dominguez, do you start him at center field and put Judge in the corners?
No, I'll leave him at left
Really?
field. Yeah, I'll leave him at left field.
What's your thought behind that?
Um, Number one, I don't believe that Jason Dominguez can fully throw to the level that he wants to because he is coming off Tommy John surgery the year prior. Aaron Judge has had center field unlocked this whole year. Yeah, his defensive metrics are probably not the best, but he's been there all year, and I just feel much more comfortable with him being able to field, run, and throw at center field right now than I do Jason Dominguez, who has been shaking in left field and also can throw. So as of right now, in the future, maybe that can change. But right now, where we currently stand, I kind of need him to whatever's safest.
And when you say Dominguez been kind of shaky, are you referring more to like fielding, like with the ball, or like throwing wise?
I mean, I haven't really seen him throw to the full of his ability. I think he's only had like one throw over
Okay.
the home, and that was when he came back for the little league thing that was going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and he didn't really throw it with all his strength. So he might be trying to reserve or play it safe. And also, he's made a lot of mistakes in the outfield, like a lot of drop balls, not just in Yankee Stadium, but in other fields too. And it's like, dude, like I'm talking about like balls that like he should be under and catch. It's not
Mm.
like he's diving for it. It's not like he's hustling to get there. There was one ball he literally overran, and there was another ball that he literally lost track of it and it dropped in front of him.
Do you think he's getting bad reads or something out there?
Yeah, bro. Imagine. I mean, I don't know. Imagine that happening in playoffs at Yankee Stadium. The fans are gonna eat him up, dude. And
It's
it's like,
happened to someone else. You know
yeah, like Aaron Hicks, yeah.
who?
So, yeah,
Yo, I didn't know something about him.
because I was there, yo, bro. Word of my mom's, I was there every time it happened. I was there at
That
Yankee
ass?
Stadium every time it happened. Yeah,
Oh man.
every single
Oh.
time. So it is what it is. But anyways, the one of the last topics I want to go ahead and wrap up the show with, in other news, is
Ooh. He didn't
Justin
play either.
Verlander. Yeah, he didn't play in the playoffs. He's had a pretty bad season. He says that he's not ready to retire yet. However, he is 40 years old, 41 years old. He's gonna be 42 years old next year. Um, he pitched to a high ERA this year. 5.48 left off the World Series roster. I think he's a free agent right now. At the end of this year, I think there's still gonna be a market for him. I think that he's still gonna try and find his way to be on a contending team. I find it shocking if he signs with a team that's more rebuilding or like needs a veteran presence, which won't be a bad idea. Hey, why not go back to the Tigers? Why not? Um, but I think that he's deciding not to retire because he wants to be able to leave on a good note. Um, any thoughts and opinions you want to share on Justin Verlander, his career? Do you think he's going to retire? Is he not?
Damn. I mean, I'm just glad we were able to somehow get that trade off to the Astros. I think we got a great return, and they didn't. I don't know why they thought that was a valid trade for them, but they wanted to run it back with him last year. I get it. I think it's time to hang it up, bro. Him and Scherzer both actually. um, Great pitchers, Hall of Fame pitchers. They are arguably they're two of the top five greatest of our generation that we've seen growing up, and both are great. Multiple Cy Youngs. Verlander got an MVP. Both of them got rings. Yeah, it's been a great career. They will forever be memorized, remembered. But I think it's time to hang it up. It's a whole new generation, and I used to think that Verlander had that. What was it, Tommy John, like 2 years ago? Like now, with science, you could come back from it, but you're on the older side, and you just don't have your best stuff with you no more. And that's just how it is, unfortunately. But to your point, I think it would be nice if he says, "Hey, I'm gonna retire after the 25th season, after the 2025 season, and then with the Tigers." And yeah, I think that'd be nice, a nice
I think that'd
story.
be pretty cool. Yeah, and it's like
Yeah,
you kind of have
yeah.
the best of both worlds. You could have another
Run,
postseason
run.
run, another
Yeah,
postseason run, and you could also mentor a lot of the young pitching staff in
yeah,
the Detroit Tigers. I'm gonna say he shouldn't retire for that reason. I think he should go back to the Tigers. I think that'll be a match made in heaven. I like when older players return back to their team, not on a 1 day contract, but to like actually give value to the team.
yeah,
Um, like I wish Derrick Rose did that with the Chicago Bulls. I feel like it's shocking that he never came back to the Bulls, but that's for a conversation for another day. In addition, I want him to come back because I want the MLB to realize that paying pitchers who are above the age of 37, 38, 39 hurts your team in this day and age while the pitch clock exists. I think that in previous years, when there wasn't a pitch clock, these older pitchers were essentially healthier and also probably more productive because they were going at their own pace. They were wise men, right? Now you add the pitch clock on there on a 40-year-old pitcher who you're paying over $25 million for, and you think that he's going to give you the same amount of production as if he was 33, 34, 35 years old. I don't think so. So you know what? Stay in the MLB and watch. And I don't want, like the Yankees, for example, I don't want them to be able to, like, give these pitchers well into their 30s, late 30s, early 40s, these massive contracts. Look at you, Darvis's contract. He's pitching till he's like 44. Garrett Cole, if he opts out or if he hops in or whatever, the Yankees got to pick up a 10th year deal. He's gonna be a 10th year on the deal. He's gonna be 39, 40. Do I want to give 30 to $40 million to a 39, 40-year old Garrett Cole? I'm not sure if I want him. It's not my money. I get that. But I think that pitchers also, and this is the fault of the pitchers. I get it. Make as much money as you want. I know I'm starting off hot right now, or
nah, yeah, you good.
I'm ending it off hot right now. Should I say? The thing is like pitchers. I get it. You want to make as much money as you can for as long as possible. I get it. Ain't nothing like getting paid $30 million and your ass is on the bench and only play once a week. I get it. I understand it. But then when you start hurting your numbers now, look at Deja LeMahieu, career 300 hitter. The past two years has dealt with a lot of injuries, and now his batting average is like 280. Does that help your Hall of Fame case? No. Look at Justin Verlander, for example. ERA was above a five, well above a five. That's the difference between a 2 point something ERA and a 3 or 4 point something ERA. Still a first ballot Hall of Famer, but that does hurt your number holistically. So it's kind of like, yo, if I'm a pitcher, no, I'm good at 36, 37, bro. I already did what I had to do. My stats is looking good. This is my Hall of Fame case. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I just want to end it on that note. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else.
Um, I feel like you made a great point that I didn't even realize. I think there could be a correlation between older pitchers and the pitch clock. I never thought about that, but you could be onto something, bro. I feel like it's probably more tiresome, more sensitive to the arms. You also got to consider that a lot of young pitchers now, like they're already used to that from the minor league system all the way up for the last few years, So they're already kind of already getting accustomed to it versus the pitcher that's a veteran, close to their 40s. Like this is new to them, Like it's a whole different preparation. It's a whole different philosophy. Now you have the pitch calm,
Yeah.
the device. Like now it's not the traditional, hand signs or whatever. So a lot of things have changed, you know. So I think that's a great point. If you guys have any thoughts on that, leave it on the comment section or bring it up. You know, I think that's a great point that we could further deep dive as we see those trends happen. Um, yeah, I think there might be a concern with signing long term contracts or high contracts to pitchers well past their prime. For example, a guy like DeGrom, I think he was only able to make 2 or 3 starts this year in September. He missed practically almost all of last year, and he missed pretty much all of this year. And now they're going into year three with the Grom as a Ranger. I think that was a bad contract, and I think that was as much as it hurts me. I think that was good for the Mets that they didn't double down on the Grom, you know,
Yeah,
with
I
that
mean
injury.
it sucked for baseball
Oh
in
yeah,
general because he
he
could have
got
gone
robbed.
down, right?
Yeah,
Um, and it sucks for the Mets. It was better that the Mets didn't pay him. That's better for them. They ended up getting they ended up getting Acuna's brother for Scherzer, but
yeah.
yeah, man, I just feel like I don't know, man. Uh, a conversation for another day, but maybe the players have I don't know, man, with these contracts that are well into their upper ages and the late 30s, early 40s, I'm not a fan of it. And it's like, all right, cool, you can pay for that long, but front load the money, you know? Like so that way when you're 39, 40 years old, you're not getting paid $30 million and now you're not hindering the payroll. You're getting paid your worth at that moment, which is probably going to be between 10 to 20 mil, you know?
I think I like that idea. I think that would be a possible solution or something. I do think the concern as a player is that you don't want your money front loaded because then when you get into the back end of the contract as you're getting older, you may feel like you gotta do the inflation adjustment. Like that money now may not be worth what it is in a few years, so you may feel like you're getting underpaid then.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and there's
so I think that's a concern with that.
yeah, and then it's like when these older as and this is the last thing I want to end it with. Like let's say if you was to front load contracts, like a player that is now 37 to 40 years old, they already had their money front loaded, but they were getting paid 40, 50 mil a year, and then
Yeah.
towards the end of the contract, guess what? If I was making $50 million 5 years ago, and I'm only getting paid $10 million, and I'm 38 years old, I'm good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that, but that's just me though, you know? But
Yeah,
versus like somebody being like, I'm 37, 38 years old. Damn, now I gotta play 2 more seasons of this shit
yeah,
so I could get my 30 mil. Like,
yeah,
what sounds better than you to you, bro? Because
yeah,
guess what? That's gonna be another year that you're gonna be away from your family. That's gonna
yeah,
be another year where you're probably gonna be tearing something, getting yourself hurt, another
yeah.
surgery. Is that really so some people it's worth it? I get it. I mean, I'm not a millionaire, I don't know. But to other people, it is what it is, man. But I'm starving. Let's go ahead and wrap this episode up.
Hey man, it's been a pleasure always. I hope I have good news next time we record. I hope that I have excitement. I hope that I have some joy and positivity, and I hope the Mets are, still playing. Hopefully,
I'm like,
we gotta take care of business tonight, but hopefully, when you guys see this, the Mets have won, and we could deep dive even more, man.
yeah, we'll see.
What I
We'll
can
see.
say.
God willing. I hope so too. All right, go ahead and send us out.
Episode 21. This is 300 Club Podcast. My name is Gil. This is Calvin, and we out here. You know.
Yes, sir.